It's the Los Angeles Lakers on the road in this interconference battle. This is Kevin Harlan here to call the action. With me, Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. It's the first game back in Atlanta for the Hawks. Facing off here against a very talented ball club, guys. This is a tremendous chance for them to put all their skill and talent on display.
With this being the third game in 4 days, you know the legs are just a tad weary. They don't have the same bounce. You're not quite as fresh. So that means mentally you have to be much more attentive and disciplined.
Especially on the defensive end, Clark, because that's where those tired legs can really hurt you. So, like you said, there may be something lacking physically, but you can make up for it with your focus and concentration.
So with Griffin sitting on the bench, this is the group Mike Brown has right now. Fung in at point guard. Nowitzki is out there with LeBron James. Then there's Kobe. And it's Howard in at the 5. And for the Hawks, Heinrich and Johnson in the backcourt. Smith and Horford at the 4 and the 5. And it's Barnes in at the small forward. We'll go to Doris Burke, who spoke with head coach Mike Brown. What's the news there, Doris?
He had a lot of praise to extend Joe Johnson's way, and with each compliment, it presented a concern for his defense. He knows Joe is one of the most explosive scorers in the league and can hurt you in a lot of different ways on the floor. We'll see if he can hurt them in this one, guys.
Thanks again, Doris. Now here's Johnson, coming off a solid outing against Philadelphia. Shot clock at 2. The shot by Heinrich no good. Here's the Lakers with the ball.
Well, Atlanta was in the playoffs a year ago, but they were not as strong as they were the previous year. And one of the reasons, their home record suffered a bit.
Playing Dallas, he was nearly unstoppable. That's good.
You don't see the wide open fadeaway shot too often.
And here is Johnson, averaging 20 points per game. Fades. Here's Smith. And so he earns a trip to the line. Official saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2. That's on Dwight Howard.
Great awareness by fouling on that layup. Make him earn 2 points.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, send him to the line instead of giving up an easy 2.
The free throw drops for Smith. And on that Atlanta Hawk team, still a good team. We talked about, the problems at home. Not as dominant, perhaps, as before. I mean, sure, Clark, for every coach, winning at home becomes priority number 1.
And you look at their numbers, they won 34 a season ago and then just 24 in the recent season. I mean, that's a 33% drop. That's a significant change.
It is. Fades and shoots. It's in. He has 6.
This has been the start that they had hoped for, coming out knocking down 4 of their first 5 shots.
Here's Johnson. No good. Nice D by Kobe.
Not looking good for him so far. 4 straight misses to start the game. Well, last season, Dwight Howard became the first player in league history to win the Defensive Player of the Year award 3 consecutive seasons. Kevin, that's absolutely amazing.
And now the first timeout called here for the Hawks. They're coming off that win against Philadelphia.
And above all else in that game, the long-range shooting, to me, was what made the biggest impact.
Well, you called it. You're all over it, Steve. I mean, it's really hard for an opponent to overcome that kind of three-point barrage. I mean, I think it's the great equalizer. You can negate a lot of weaknesses if you can make three-point shots.
Now here's Heinrich. He had 10 points in the win against Philadelphia. Johnson, the pass to Heinrich. Back to Johnson. 6 on the shot clock. Guarded by Kobe. Johnson. And Johnson missing again. You're right on that defense, Clark. He is something else. He has actually seen a lot of firsts in his time in the league. He's also the first player ever to lead the league in total rebounds. Steve, for 5 consecutive seasons.
Well, he's so dominant, and the thing he did last season with Orlando was he added to his low post game. He became a better scorer down on the block, and that's going to have to continue. That type of improvement offensively to make him tougher and tougher to cover.
Now here's Heinrich. Not a lot of room. Releases from 15. Another miss by Johnson.
Nothing's working for him here. He's just really struggling to find the basket.
Well, thanks to some good shooting, they're off to a nice lead here.
Well, they hit the ground running, Steve, from the tip-off, and they've yet to slow down.
Time called here. The Hawks decide to talk it over.
You know, for so long we've seen the Lakers coast into the playoffs, put themselves in a tight spot and find a way out of it. But in that series versus Dallas in last season's playoffs, they really looked like a tired and overmatched team.
Jeff Teague, he's checked in for Atlanta. The Lakers also changing it up. Kevin Garnett, he's checked in for Nowitzki. And it's Ginobili in for Kobe. And for the Lakers, Kobe said, Clark, after that series, we've been playing with fire the last 3 years. Now we finally got what we deserve. Steve, that is a very interesting quote. Take it apart for us and delve into it.
Well, I think the Lakers had been to the finals for 3 straight years, and I think they were worn out emotionally. And for a couple of those playoff series over the years, they did play with fire and get away with it. Not last year. Dallas just destroyed them, and I think the Lakers just looked tired, both physically and mentally.
You know, the Hawks did not secure home court advantage in the playoffs last season, and a few games they dropped in that chase were against the Western Conference.
And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time. Well, Clark, you brought the Hawks and the West only 13 wins in 30 games for them against Western Conference opponents. Steve, that's going to have to improve.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to want to be a top seed in your conference, I think you have to play 500 ball at least against the other conference. And Atlanta certainly looking to make improvement this year.
Here's Fung. Converts on the jumper for the easy 2. He's got 16.
It's been really impressive at both ends of the floor so far early on.
Yeah, and it's for that reason that they've been able to jump out ahead early here.
Swiped away. Fast break. Here we go. And he slams it home. Here's the replay on the Sprite Slam Cam.
This has been an offensive explosion, guys. They are on fire.
How about a volcanic eruption, a flash fire? And defensively, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. They just hope that they cool off at some point.
Here's Teague. Smith dishes to Johnson. Lets it fly. Cans the shot from the wing.
You know, a recipe for disaster, Kevin, is letting him get that free near the basket.
18 points for him. Here's Fung, and the Lakers check on 2 more.
You know, when you got someone putting on a show like this, I mean, in the first quarter, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, he can't miss. Nobody can guard the guy. I mean, who's in line? Somebody try to get in line and stop this guy.
And here we go. The finish. Oh, the one-hand jam.
Come on now, I didn't see. Can you believe that finish? Boy, a little bit of flair and flavor at the end of it.
Oh, that'll be a fan favorite, all right.
That was not your average typical dunk.
Here's Teague. 34 seconds left here in the opening quarter. Dishes to Horford. Covered by LeBron. Horford kicks to Barnes. That 3 off the mark. Lakers leading by 19 points. Here's Fung, and again it's the Lakers.
And this is turning into a blowout. I mean, everything's coming easy to them.
Yeah, and it's a party out there. They're just having fun, enjoying themselves. No pressure, just hooping.
We're at the end of the first quarter, and what a blowout.
Next Tuesday night.
History in the making, ain't you feeling it? Free flow, they say I'm on some show feeling. My slow-mo this.
Welcome back, folks. We'll see if we're in store for a more tightly contested quarter as we move here into the second. Here's Heinrich, looking for his first bucket of the game. So with Griffin sitting on the bench, this is the group Mike Brown has right now. Fung, he's in at point guard. Nowitzki is out there with Noah. Then it's Odom. And it's Kobe in at the 2.
And I think one of the things that Josh Smith has really improved on is his shot selection. He used to really fire away from the three-point line, and as a result, his shooting percentages were very low. But now he's become a 50% range type shooter because he's become much smarter with his offensive choices.
Here's Heinrich after the basket by the Lakers. Smith outside. And he lays it straight in. Smith's got 4 points now in the quarter. Thinking back to that shot selection comment of Steve, do you think he's become more committed to getting chances close in?
Oh, I think he's made great improvement in that area, Kevin. I really do. And I think there's still plenty of room for him to grow, but he's made tremendous strides there. And I think it's part of him just kind of figuring out how he can be most effective on the floor. And that just, again, comes with becoming a veteran. You can't have maturity without time and experience. You need both.
And Smith slams it home. And now here's the Spike Slam Cam replay.
Well, he took that one to the rack with some purpose.
I'll say beautiful dunk there, Steve.
Yeah, how about the agility? Just the power and the skill. Impressive.
Lakers leading by 19 points. 28 points for him. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot two. It's going to be on Kirk Heinrich.
Well, it's interesting. Once again, late last season for the Lakers, they slumped to close out the regular season. And it seems to be a pattern. You know, it's almost like they get bored before they actually get into the postseason.
And, you know, Steve, for the Lakers, Lamar Odom said himself their sluggish finishes in the second half were partly born of overconfidence, of ego. I don't know much credence you put in that, Clark. I mean, what do you think?
You know what? I think there is a tendency, a human tendency, to become complacent, to become full, and you can lose some of your edge. I don't think it's a lack of humility and respect. I think it's just the nature of being somewhat satisfied. And when you're in this league, because people are coming after you a lot harder when you've got what they want in terms of championships, and especially as you age, I think it gets harder sometimes to fight off that resistance and to flip the switch if you find yourself in a little bit of a rush.
Let's bring up the 2K leaderboard. Show you the teams that have shot the lights out during the last month. The Lakers #1.
Yeah, Kevin, it's been a long month for anybody who plays these guys. I mean, they've been shooting the lights out, and it's been game after game after game.
Here's Williams. He kicks it to Powell. They're moving the ball. Crawford outside. Guarded by Kobe. Shot clock at 6. And good on the basket. Book it. Crawford's got his first points of the night.
Larry Drew was brought into Atlanta and wanted to help boost the defense, but it seemed to go the opposite direction, quite honestly. Could just be a transitioning phase, but if it isn't, that has to be worrisome going forward to the Hawks fans. Well, that's been nice, efficient work, guys, that he's been doing. I mean, we haven't seen him take many bad shots, and that's the sign of a mature, poised player.
Here's Williams. Offensive rebound. Horford backing in. Here's Powell. Right now averaging 5 points a game. Yeah, Clark, the Hawks didn't really go the right direction on defense under Larry Drew, and Steve, that kind of surprised me.
Well, they did step it up in terms of being defensive-minded in the playoffs last year. And I think that was important because you're right, Kevin, they weren't great defensively in the regular season under Drew, but you know, sometimes it takes time for a roster and players to figure out exactly what a coach is looking for.
Horford, no luck.
You'd expect him to nail that one being that close to the hoop.
He has 35. Fades away. A couple of bounces and it falls. 37 points for him.
Showing no mercy. They are getting after them at both ends of the floor.
Continuing to add to the lead as the minutes tick away.
Well, there's so much to like about Dwight Howard with his defense and his presence in the lane, his rebounding. How about his durability? He's only missed 3 games through his first 7 seasons in the league. Remarkable.
Crawford's shot is good.
And that's his first 3-pointer, so maybe that one will get him started.
Lakers leading by 23. Fades back, and there's another one for the Lakers. And for Dwight Howard, when you consider the nightly pounding Clark he takes inside to be the Iron Man he is and hardly miss any games, that's impressive.
That may be the most impressive stat for him. You know that? I mean, considering the punishment he takes, it's a credit to his conditioning, to his preparation, his mindset. He has to take an awful lot, and he prepares himself mentally and physically to do so.
The Lakers on offense. And this game, the first chance they've had to see Atlanta.
Well, they were the better team when these two teams got together a year ago, no question, sweeping the season series 2-0.
Again, the Lakers.
Guys, you're not going to get away with that kind of defense when he's got the ball. I mean, you got to do better than that.
Crawford against Kobe. Hinrich outside. Outside Williams for three. Good, and Hinrich gets the assist. It makes you wonder how the standings might look if some of these teams, actually changed conferences.
Well, Kevin, I think it'd be a whole new world, a totally different world, a whole new set of matchups, but at least everybody gets a couple of games a year to check everybody else out up close.
Starting to build a head of steam here. He had a good first quarter, but he's been even better here in the second.
Back to Crawford. Deflected. Guarded by Kobe. Crawford. And that one goes long.
Hawks foul call. Josh Allen.
Atlanta making some changes.
2 seconds.
And through one half, it hasn't even been close. Lakers ahead, opening up a huge gap.
And welcome everyone to the HP Halftime Report. We're in the heart of the NBA season. Let's keep the beat. The Lakers came out with a full head of steam. Call a doctor, they're putting on a clinic. Unbelievable first half. And the Hawks have been plugging out at Time Warner Cable Arena. It was the Bobcats losing to the Warriors. They couldn't get anything going, it seemed. Corey Maggette led the team in points. And checking out another game that wrapped up, the Cavaliers came out on top against the Rockets in Houston. So far, after dropping 4 in a row, that win was definitely welcome. And now here's what's going on in the rest of the association. Out at American Airlines Arena, it's the Heat.
Welcome back, everyone, to the start of the second half. Big margin on our hands, but we'll see if that gap narrows down in the third and fourth quarters. Here's Hinrich. Still looking to get on the scoreboard.
And one of the things you like about the Lakers, their ability to go out on the road and win. In fact, last season, they were 27-14 away from Staples Center.
Smith and Horford at the 4 and the 5. Hinrich and Johnson in the backcourt. And it's Barnes in at the small forward. So that's the lineup for Atlanta. Hinrich kicks to Johnson. Drops it in off the fadeaway. Johnson's got the first basket of the third quarter for the Hawks. And the Lakers, Clark, a smart veteran team, we know that. How much of an asset is that to winning on the road?
You can't overstate it. I mean, it's really huge, Kevin. Keeping your composure, staying focused, understanding what's coming and what you need to do to seize games on the road. Some folks call it that killer instinct. And those are the things you have to be able to do, and the Lakers, quite honestly, a terrific example of all of that. Well, another uncontested three there. They've got to make some kind of an adjustment. I mean, they're giving up way too many open threes.
Well, the last 5 hoops, 3 have come off wide open three-pointers, Clark. So it's one thing to give up one, but you start giving three-pointers up in bunches, you're in big trouble.
Hinrich kicks to Johnson. Out of bounds. And they'll keep possession. Now we get a chance to check out the standings out west. Already we're in December. Take a look at the Lakers. Long way to go still in the season, but even so, they've got the top spot. And, of course, there's the Suns. 2 spots down.
You know, right now for the Lakers, they've been effective in just about every aspect of the game. I mean, you can't find too many things that they do wrong. They're a very complete team.
Which is exactly why they've been able to make...
That should be absolutely illegal.
And our Sprite Slam Cam gives us another look.
I like that. Actually, I love it. He looked almost weightless on that one. A beautiful dunk.
It was. How in the world did he do that?
I don't know. What an amazing effort.
Another steal.
Well, Mike Brown taking over as coach of the Lakers this season, I think it's a good fit. He knows what it's like to coach a star because he had LeBron in Cleveland, played in a lot of big games. No doubt he'll be under the spotlight in L.A. with the Lakers.
And it's the Hawks' ball. Following this one, they get to host the Cavaliers. And that's game 2 of this string of 4 games played at home. Here's Smith. Rebounded by the Lakers. Well, Steve, going back to Mike Brown once more, they're going to expect a lot from him from the get-go, I would imagine, Clark, out in Los Angeles, where the NBA is #1 out there.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely some additional scrutiny and pressure. It'll be a little hotter on that seat for Mike Brown, but you know what? He coached LeBron James in Cleveland where expectations were high, and I've seen Mike grow as an assistant coach with the Pacers. He's a high-quality guy and a terrific basketball coach. It's win it all or nothing out in L.A., and I think at this point in his career, he's ready for the challenge.
Back to Horford. Over Bynum. Atlanta again missing.
They have really been a group of glass eaters out there today, fellas. I mean, just devouring any and all rebounds.
And I think that's the difference in the game right now. A double-digit lead in that category.
He faded back on that one to give himself some room.
Just cruising out there offensively. This team really playing well.
Well, Steve, it's pretty comfortable when you can be up double digits in the middle of the game. That's a good place to be.
Time called here. The Hawks decide to talk it over.
Boy, you look at the way the Hawks finished last season, you thought they'd slip early in the playoffs, but they came out a different team.
This is the 2K leaderboard with a rundown of the NBA's top defenders down low. The league's leaders in rejections this month. And you take a look. .136 left to play in the third. With the fadeaway. On the money. Back to the Hawks. They went into the postseason losing 6 in a row.
Obviously something clicked, though. They won their opener in the playoffs in Orlando, went on to win that series, and took Chicago to 6 games as well, Kevin.
And here's the fast break. Here's Funk. Oh!
They can do no wrong offensively.
Everything's dropping, guys, and that confidence, it gets infectious and contagious.
Here's Crawford. He has 5. He's covered by Ginobili. Crawford up top. He's covered by Ginobili. Stolen by Ginobili.
The turnovers have upticked for them. They can't afford to let their concentration lapse here.
They're just getting better offensively as the game goes along, making good choices and getting high percentage shots.
And they're playing hard and playing smart too, Steve. They've just been very, very good.
Lamar Odom is checked in for the Lakers. That free throw good from Ginobili.
You know, watching Manu Ginobili play, Kevin, it seems like his passion just kind of oozes out of him. He's got a unique way of playing the game that's enjoyable to watch.
Pachulia kicks to Heinrich. Crawford right side. Picked up by Ginobili. 6 to shoot. Atlanta again missing. And for Manu Ginobili, his passion for the game came from a very early age, growing up in Argentina. In fact, Steve, he comes from a family of professional players.
Yeah, just an amazing athlete. And both his brothers played professional basketball. His dad was a head coach. Manu, an excellent soccer player. But his passion and his emotion and his energy, just remarkable.
Crawford left side. Picked up by Ginobili.
Their offense seems completely out of sync here. They're on the wrong end of a big run.
And then at the other end, it's been bucket after bucket after bucket, giving up a huge run here.
And as we conclude the third quarter, pretty much a blowout.
Tune in next Wednesday night. The Los Angeles Lakers.
So as we get rolling here in the fourth, let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for the Sprite Spark Report. Doris?
For the Lakers, the Sprite Spark has been from the lead guard position, guys. He carried them into the locker room at halftime on the heels of his big first half. Will he be able to do it again in the fourth? We'll soon find out, guys.
Great stuff, Doris. Thank you. What a spark, Clark, he has given them.
Yeah, we've been watching him the whole game, and he's been all over the place.
You can't say enough about his efforts tonight, guys. He's really put his team on his shoulders today.
So with Howard sitting on the bench, this is the group Mike Brown has right now. Fung in a two-guard. Bynum is out there with Griffin. Then it's Tony Parker. And it's Ginobili in at the 3 slot. Johnson outside. Cans the shot with nobody near him.
Great teamwork out there, really helping each other out.
They're playing as one. I mean, they're like a symphony. Everybody in harmony and in beat and in rhythm. 5 straight baskets now have resulted because of assists.
He's guarded by Johnson. Again, the Lakers.
He's been so valuable for this team with plays like that one.
And here's Atlanta.
I'll tell you one thing that's helped players of late is the advancement in training and understanding conditioning levels and diet and preparation. You look at guys like Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, Grant Hill, Elton Brand, all of them on the deep side of 30, and yet they're making huge impacts for their squads.
The fader. And there's another one for the Lakers.
And he's performing at such a high level. That's why they're in the lead right now.
You talk about those veteran players who are still going strong. You can also throw in Kobe and big ticket Kevin Garnett, really finding a way to bring out every bit of what their bodies will produce.
And Kevin, a big part of it is certainly physical training, but also big advances in surgical techniques and rehabilitation. A lot of guys have had multiple arthroscopic procedures, and they can get in there, fix the problem, whatever it might be, and have shorter recovery times. I mean, science definitely having an impact on sport as we know it today.
He feeds it to T. Here's Smith in Atlanta again with the bucket.
Well, he found the open man on the perimeter and got the ball to him.
Here's Ginobili. Covered by Barnes. Fader on the way. Yep, it's good.
Yeah, they are just lighting him up from mid-range area.
You know, sometimes we forget about the value of the mid-range or in-between game. This team has made 8 of their last 10 with that shot, the in-between shot.
Goes up low, and again it's Josh Smith.
Guys, he's really shot the ball well. It's definitely not his fault they find themselves trailing in this one.
Here's Parker. Ginobili outside. Parker outside. The fadeaway, and that falls.
And now 6 of their last 10 points from mid-range.
Yeah, the jump shot really serving these guys pretty well.
Atlanta calls timeout.
And obviously, coach doesn't want them giving up all these inside buckets. They need to do a better job of moving their feet, staying in their stance, and keeping their man in front of them.
So for the Hawks. Here's Kobe. Crawford with the steal.
Ever since coming out of the locker room at halftime, it seems like they've been very lackadaisical with the ball.
They are enjoying, Steve, a commanding lead.
Well, and it gives them the opportunity to give their starters a rest, which is so critical during this grueling NBA season.
And that one's good.
Another bucket, and they are just pulling away here now.
Yep, no doubt about it. They're sprinting to the finish line.
Atlanta calls timeout. They trail by a ton. There's 37 seconds left in the game. What's your take, guys?
Not a whole lot they can talk about here, but you do want to finish the game on the right note.
Well, I guess they're going to try to pull a rabbit out of their backpack.
Looking at who's out there now for the Hawks. Josh Smith, he's checked in for foul. And it's Heinrich in for Damian Wilkins. Fung hits the reach-in call. That's his first foul of the game, and the bonus will go to the free throw line.
Not a good foul there. You've got the lead. You don't want to stop the clock in this situation.
Steve, SMH, man. Shaking my head on that one. I'm sure he's going to hear about that from the coach.
That's also good, so he hits both free throws.
Boy, the Hawks came into the postseason last year as the 5 seed and really weren't given too much of a chance, but they turned some heads against the Magic.
Guarded by Heinrich. Here's Fung, and again it's the Lakers.
Man, that's going to do it. I mean, this thing is pretty much over. They've played well.
Well, it has been a bit anticlimactic the end of the game, but sometimes that's the way it goes.
Fires from deep, and again it's the Lakers from deep.
And that should do it. This is an insurmountable lead.
Yep, there's too little time left, too big a deficit to overcome. This one's over.
And so it's the Lakers taking care of business here. Not much to be critical of with this win, Clark.
Not at all. I mean, they showed up not just to play, they showed up to give great effort and to win, and they did both.
Thanks for joining us for this presentation of NBA basketball on 2K Sports. For Doris Burke, Steve Kerr, and Clark